Bistro and Bar, voted #1 sports bar in America. Here is your host, Andy Everett.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Walk-Ons. It's time for the Frank Wilson Radio Show on this Wednesday evening. Andy Everett along with the coach of the Roadrunners, Frank Wilson. We invite you to join us out here tonight. You can also call us at 736-9760 if you'd like to be on with Frank Wilson. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good.
You got a chance to look at the film on Sunday and figure out the good and the bad, and how did the film assess after the truth was told on Sunday?
Probably, ironically, much better than you would have, than I expected on the film. Post game question was posed: was there anything that we did well? And at that time, I said no. Not that I can think of at the moment, should I say? But as I went back and watched the film, there were some good things done in the game. There always is. And at the very end of the game, it just wasn't enough to hold on or to move forward. But some things that we did well, certainly not enough to earn victory, and played a very quality football team who was deserving of victory on that Saturday night.
What was good? What did you like?
Anytime your defense can go to the field and force 5 consecutive punt opportunities, it's saying that they're playing a defensive style of football that allows you to be in position to win games. Anytime you have a special team unit that can flip the field and put you in position and to make an opponent go a distance is a good thing. And then I thought at times offensively we were able to do something that we thought was very challenging, and that was to stop that team from having sacks against us, as they had the leading active sack leader in college football right now. So I thought we did a good job of controlling him, maintaining him, and not going negative where we had consecutive or many sacks at all. One to be attributed, to be quite frank with you, sack on a day against probably the best pass rushing front in our conference for sure. And so we were able to hold up in that aspect, although we may not have in other areas of the game. It was good to see our offensive line protect our quarterback.
The defense got 2 more turnovers. You're always counting those, and that keeps you up there in the tops of the nation in defensive turnovers.
Yes, we are. We continue to do a good job creating turnovers and giving ourselves opportunity and chance to put points on the board. Uncharacteristic of us on Saturday, we turned the ball over twice. One that wasn't necessarily errant on the quarterback, a ball that went through a receiver's hand and popped up, and the other on the move to go down to get points and stripped out of the quarterback's hand, which should not happen. And so those are things that had not reared its head, and it showed up on Saturday, unfortunately.
You mentioned on your press conference that you do every Monday about we're in the nurturing business. We're trying to teach these guys how to do things, that they're still kids. And we've talked about the youth of this football team. And I know everybody wants immediate success, but that doesn't always happen, does it?
It doesn't. They don't come ready-made, and it takes time. And in a microwave world, we're a little different. And we don't just take players to take players. We take quality young men that have insight and vision and fortitude and ability and desire to want to earn a degree. We take quality young men who put on their pants every day at practice, every Saturday, and they're hard hat and work hard. And so although you measure a program in many ways, and certainly wins and losses is one way, the culture of our team, the development of our team, the nurturing of our players to become productive young men in society is ultimately a part of the goal that we set forth.
You surprised some fans that were asking me all week about playing Jordan Weeks the last series of the game, and he's moved up on the depth chart. Talk about his progression and what you like from him.
I just like that he's, week in and week out, he's steadfast, focused on the things that we're trying to accomplish. His development has been leaps and bounds. Majority of his time, for the most part, was at the other end of the field servicing our defense. And then when we get ready to go in a one-on-one situation, when we're going individual as an offense or as a quarterback unit and routes on air, his consistency to place the ball where it needs to be is something that we took notice of, and in the last several weeks have gradually just been putting him in position to have that opportunity.
You can't coach a guy that's 6'4" and 225. Those are natural gifts right there, aren't they?
Yeah, he's instinctive as well. There's some guys that have what you call arm talent, a strong arm, but then there's this piece called hand talent, the ability to negotiate a throw, whether it's over top, whether it's in this manner, the right touch that needs to get there, enough velocity to get there, and at times enough to take off the ball as well. And I think that's important. He displayed that throughout his high school career. He displayed it in fall camp. And there's just so much of the offense that took some time. You know, he wasn't a mid-year graduate. So it took some time for his development, but it's been something that's been consistent for us, and we're pleased with the way that he's progressing.
You know, I mentioned patience, and fans don't always have patience, but and players, I think, can get frustrated too, because every time I talk to a player, they're so close to being where they want to be on the offense. And I think the first series of the game was kind of a microcosm of a lot we've seen. A great play with Blaze, and then you're punting from 10 yards further back a few plays later.
Yeah, you know, so here's what we wanted. We wanted to start fast. We started fast offensively. We wanted to start fast. We did not start fast defensively. But we regrouped, and we were able to put a string of defensive series together that allowed us to have opportunity. Although that first play and plays in between were there, just not enough from an offensive standpoint. And unfortunately, you know, it continued to rear its head. It's something, though, that's ongoing. It's not like we have an issue and it's resolved and we're gone beyond it. It's a constant work in progress, just like any other aspect of our student athletes. The education, the thirst for knowledge, our ability to teach is something that's ongoing.
All right, it's the Frank Wilson Radio Show. It's presented by Methodist Healthcare, the official hometown healthcare provider of UTSA Athletics and San Antonio's most preferred health system for all your healthcare needs. Go Roadrunners. We're on a half hour earlier tonight so that we can get you on our flagship station, Ticket 760, to the Astros in the game with the Red Sox coming up at 7:30 this evening. Coming up next, we'll visit with Cassius, Grady, and Marquez McNair. We'll talk about Southern Miss a little bit later on as well. It's the Frank Wilson Radio Show, live from Walk-Ons and from Learfield.
Recharge is not a driver tip.
We are back out at Walk-Ons. It's the #1 sports bar in America. You can come out here before, during, or after the games and enjoy all the great food and fun at Walk-Ons. And Health Texas Medical Group is about your overall well-being, not just your health. Their commitment to you is outstanding care, every patient, every time. Joining us on the show this evening is Cassius Grady. He is one of UTSA's starting cornerbacks. Congratulations on the last 2 weeks. A couple of picks back-to-back.
Thank you.
Tell me about, let's talk about the Rice pick in the game and the pick against Louisiana Tech. You made a couple of big plays. Take us through those plays for us.
The game against Rice, that pick was a good one for me because it set the tone for me for the rest of the season. You know, it was a hitch route. I was in zero tech. You know, and he threw the ball, I tipped it to myself and made a play. Took off running, rock and roll.
Did you think you got in the end zone?
Look, that's a funny question because we was on the bus. When we was on the bus, I'm debating with Solomon Wise. If y'all know him, he's a DN on our team. I'm debating. I'm like, man, I swear I got in the end zone. So we slowed it down, and, man, I was close, but I did step out like after two.
His left foot.
Left foot. Yeah. And then last week you got the pick. You played that one from where we're seeing. We can see it coming, and I knew you had a beat on it to be able to get that interception.
Yeah, I was actually in cover 2, so I'm playing a little trail technique. I got help from my safety over top. So, man, I was on the single side, and really you can man that up really on the single side, but we was in the thumbs, I think, if I'm not mistaken.
So tell me about your path to UTSA. Why did you choose to come here? I knew you took some time off from football. Tell us all about how you became a Roadrunner.
It was a long process. So I was actually set to go to UIW, actually. And Jacob LaFrance actually hit me 2 weeks before I was about to depart to UIW and told me Coach Darren Wilson loved me, Coach Frank Wilson loved me, and they got me up here to my visit, and, man, and it felt like home. It felt like home. Felt like family members. That's what it felt like.
Yeah, that's good. Frank, talk about Cassius and what he's meant to the Roadrunners this year, and I know you're glad to have him back there.
We are. We're very fortunate to have him. You know, we had phone conversation in his very first arrival on campus. He came with his father and with his brother, and you saw that family, that unity, and just got to spend quality time with him to understand his values and the things that were important to him, and was able to map out for him a blueprint. If these are the things that you desire in earning a degree, if these are the things you desire in your development as a football player, here's our plan to help you get those things and achieve those things. And we said it with earnest. And so it wasn't our recruitment is a little different. It's real conversation. It's real relationships. And we indulged in those things and continued for some time. And we were fortunate enough to garner a commitment from Cassius. And, he was eager to play from the moment he got here. But it took us some time to develop him and get an understanding and our style of play to knock some rust off and really get him back to his swag, if you will. And I think right now he's hitting full stride because he's understanding from a schematic standpoint the things that we're asking. As he talked about us being in a man coverage and really driving on the ball, or even against this previous opponent when they wanted to go vertical and realizing he had nothing else in the flat area and sinking and putting himself in position with his safety to make that play. All of those things make sense to him, which is an advantage for us because it allows him to play with the utmost confidence and speed at his best ability. So just a very mature young man that understands and recognizes the things that he wants in life and is focused on getting them.
Cassius, Frank just mentioned the recruiting process, and you mentioned family. It's nice to know that you're here to play football, you're here to get an education, and you've got a whole bunch of support staff around you, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Of course. I would say the whole coaching staff supports me a lot, And like just before we got on the radio, he just asked me about my daughter, and stuff like that. They just left this morning, so.
How old's your daughter?
6 months.
How about that? Congratulations.
Thank you.
How's it to be a dad?
It's actually fun. I take a lot of pride in it. It's fun. It's very fun.
Well, I guess at the end of the day, when you get to hold her, everything else doesn't matter, does it?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's cool. What are you doing in school? What are you studying?
Communications, media communications.
So you're going to do this someday?
Yeah, hopefully.
You're on the right track, that's for sure. You're doing a great job. And what do you think about Southern Miss this weekend?
Southern Miss, they all right. They got a good wide receiver core, number 2, and I think it's the other one's number 16. Maybe they're some good guys, So we're going to come ready to play, like always, like every week, come ready to play.
Very good. Thanks so much for spending some time with us. Congratulations on your child and what you're doing at UTSA, and hopefully you get another pick and make her proud again.
Thank you.
All right, that's Cassius Grady, everyone, out here at Walk-Ons, 736-9760. If you'd like to join us on the show, we'll visit with Marquez McNair coming up here in just a little bit. Kickapoo Lucky Eagle Casino Hotel invites you to come and play. Located in Eagle Pass, Texas, you're just a short drive away. Visit LuckyEagleTexas.com for more. The Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from Walk-Ons and from Learfield. Texas Farm Bureau insurance members can get 2 free tickets to Roadrunners football games when you show proof of membership at the ticket office. Visit TexasFarmBureau.org/sports to learn more. And Roadrunner fans, our partner Sports Clips is giving away a once-in-a-lifetime game day experience. Go to sportclips.com/UTSA for more details and register to win for the November 10th game against the Florida International University Panthers. Joining us on the show this evening is Marquez McNair, and he is one of UTSA's wide receivers. Marquez, thanks for being out here tonight.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Let's talk about your season. It didn't start off the way you wanted to with the injuries, but you got back for the Rice game and starting to make some plays.
Yes, sir. I had went down with hamstring injury. That kind of set me back. But coming back last week, I finally feel like I got my groove back in that second half.
What do you miss the most when you're hurt? I know that playing is something you like to do and being around the guys, but when you can't go out there, that's got to be frustrating, isn't it?
Yes, sir. You know, that camaraderie with the guys, you know, just being around them, then you really being hurt, so you spending most of your time in treatment. You know, you can't be around them as much as you want to, but once you get back, man, it's just a great feeling.
What do you think you do best for this team in the offense and as a wide receiver? What are your strengths?
I think I catch the ball pretty well. You know, I bring that energy every day, you know, to try to get the guys going. Just trying to make a play every day.
Your uncle was Steve McNair. Talk about your memories of him and growing up around him, what that was like.
Yes, sir. You know, y'all played at Alcorn. You know, just watching him, like, you know, just being so exciting, you know, and then just when he come around, how people just gravitate to him, you know. You just want to be like that one day, you know.
Did he teach anything?
Yeah, you know, in high school, you know, I played a little quarterback. I try to be like him a little bit.
How'd that go? You're a better receiver?
Yeah, a better receiver.
Frank, talk about Marquez and getting him here a couple years ago. And I remember the first touchdown, I think, in your first game he caught against Southern in the back of the end zone. That was pretty special, and just what kind of a player and person he brings to the Roadrunners.
Yeah, you know, he was he's from the Hattiesburg area.
Yeah.
Or not exactly Hattiesburg, but in that area, and was a verbal commitment at one point to Southern Miss. So we had a recruiting tussle, if you will, with them, as well as Lorenzo Dantzler, who actually went to. So we got a couple of guys, and we have had fierce competition with Southern Miss. So it'll be exciting to get those guys. We have 6 players on our team from Mississippi. To get them back in that area will be fun for us. But Quez was a guy that we had on our radar and that we thought had tremendous ability, ball skills, quickness, a competitive nature that we desired. And I tell him all the time he holds a special place in my heart because he's the only player on our team that's on my wall because he scored the first touchdown in our debut here. And so, you know, that means a lot to us. And just thank the world of Marquez and his ability to make things happen on a football field, but even more so his maturity as a young man as he has positioned himself for this fall to be a graduate. And that's something that's been very important to him, forced on him that he's eventually embraced. It's a big thing. It's important to him. It's important to his mom. And I think right now he's mature enough and recognize how that degree in hand will carry him for a lifetime.
Marquez, talk about that, getting that degree, making sure you get to class, making sure you do the work, and being able to do that while juggling a Division I athlete schedule.
It's pretty tough. You know, when I got here, to be honest, I really didn't like school, like talking about, you know. But being around Coach Wilson really instilled in me, like, you know, you have to get that degree out here in this world, you know. That's the paper that's saying I can do it, you know. And it really sunk in my head. You know, I just had to get that paper. So I've been working pretty hard and diligently to get it.
So now it wasn't always easy. You're listening to this, Doc? So with Marquez, when he got here, he goes home. Was it the bye week or spring break?
Spring break.
He goes home for spring break, right? And I'm like, anybody talk to Quez? Nah, but he knows to be back. Did anybody talk to Quez? No, sir. Call Marquez McNair, find out where he is. We call Quez. He's in Hattiesburg. I said, did I not tell y'all to make sure Marquez McNair gets back here? And so because of our relationships and our strength down in the Mississippi, South Mississippi area, he was not coming back at that time. And I got a high school coach who coached with me for a junior college coach who coached with me at Mississippi to go and pick him up and to bring him back to school. And we had many knockout, drag-out fights now for his own good, for love, for want to him to understand how much it means to get this degree. So here's the key to all of that. They don't come ready-made as football players, and sometimes it takes time to figure it out even as a student, much like any other student at a collegiate level when they first come into a college setting. And so it took some time, and I can't tell you enough how proud I am of him when academics comes every Wednesday to have an academic meeting and say to me, All right, Quez McNair on pace to graduate, taking his last 9 hours. He has all A's, all B's, and I can almost jump out of my chair, but I sit there composed like, yeah, that's what we expected. And and so just so
That's awesome.
So happy for him. And at an institution of higher learning, that's what we're charged to do, to give these guys a second or a lease on life to be able to walk into an employer and say, I am capable. Here's my degree that says I'm qualified. I've done those things, whether it's been a research paper, whether it's been a final exam, a thesis, whatever all that was, I've accomplished it in my time, in my training, in my apprenticeship, if you will, at UTSA. I'm prepared for this moment.
Marquez, it's got to make you feel good that you've got a father figure and a coach that's looking after your best interests. Talk about that relationship.
Yes, sir. He stays on me every day. Every day I come to work, he's on me. Like, I can't even just, I don't even have the words to say, like this, I owe this man so much, from taking me where I was, to bringing me where I am now, like shaping me, just molding me into the man I am today. I just can't thank him enough.
What are you studying? What's your degree going to be in?
Multidisciplinary studies.
What do you want to do? What career do you want to be?
I think I'm going to take the high school coaching route.
All right. Yeah. That'll work.
He don't want to do the college coaching, man. He said we work too many hours.
Too much time on the road, huh? I remember at the recruiting day last year, or the signing day, you were talking about the times the coaches are on the road for 2.5 months during recruiting period. That's a grind.
You know what? I try to get them off the road sometime, but then Lisa Campos jumps in and says, I want them on the road. Recruiting is our lifeline.
You got to go get players.
Yeah, so we got to go get players.
So how much is it going to mean to you to play a game in Hattiesburg against Southern Miss on Saturday? How much fun is that going to be?
Oh, it's going to be fun. It's a good game, My whole family come out. I just, recently before I came, I put in 50 tickets. So 50 tickets.
Just light up the scoreboard and help him out a little bit, right?
Yes,
He's played some of his best games against Southern Miss.
Yeah.
He had 2 touchdowns last year against him, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, we'll throw the ball to him.
Perfect. Marquez, thanks so much. Congratulations on your accomplishments, and we'll look forward to more big plays.
Yes, sir. It was a pleasure.
All right, that's Marquez McNair, UTSA wide receiver. Enchanted Rock Vodka and Rebecca Creek Whiskey are proud sponsors of the Roadrunners Sports Network. Raise your glass to the UTSA Roadrunners. Always drink responsibly. The Frank Wilson Radio Show from Walk-Ons rolls on from Learfield. Back out here at Walk-Ons, it's the Frank Wilson Radio Show. It is presented by Methodist Healthcare. Bud Light's an official sponsor of UTSA Athletics, reminding you to enjoy responsibly. And Wendy's uses fresh beef on every hamburger every day. Try it for yourself on a Dave's Double and taste the difference fresh beef makes. Fresh beef's available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. Well, let's talk about the Golden Eagles. And you know that program pretty well, don't you?
I do. Had an opportunity to work there in Larry Fedora's first year. And you know what? It mirrors so much of what we're doing here at UTSA. In our first year, we actually got on had a 1-4, 1-5 start, and then went on to win the next 6 in a row to become bowl eligible, and played a very talented Arkansas State team. And in a bowl game and had some success. And then certainly, Larry did a great job, who's now at North Carolina. But a very proud program, have been one for many years, pre-Brett Favre. I mean, right. I'm talking about Ray Guy and all those guys way back when. They've always played well. It'll be a tough venue to go in, but certainly look forward to it.
They seem to be in a similar position that UTSA is. I was listening to Jay Hobson's presser on Monday, and he's like, we had – multiple chances to score against North Texas and shot ourselves in the foot. So you can kind of relate a little bit.
Yeah, they have a freshman center. They have a sophomore left guard. They're young in a secondary but talented. They start a first-year quarterback, junior college transfer who's a talented young man, but he has all of 5 games of experience. Their strength lies in their receiving core. Right now, they boast the conference leader in passing yards or receiving yards per game, 16. 2 had 150 yards. 80 did, and then 2 as well. So they have three receivers that have played exceptional at times for them, that have had 100-plus yard games. And the interesting thing is what those guys are able to do after the catch. And they'll take some vertical shots, and they have the ability to get behind defenses. But it's not necessarily that. It's their catch or their run after the catch that has really been has caught our attention. And so we'll have to tackle, not only cover, but tackle this unit very well. Also, defensively, they do a whole bunch. They what we call prowl, meaning the defensive linemen won't even put their hands on the line of scrimmage. They stand up and walk around, and at the snap of the ball, hit a spot. Now, here's the reality. We teach our guys it's not where they line up, it's where they wind up. And so even though that guy is prowling around, he has a destination that he's going to hit that's predetermined. And so our ability to recognize that, communicate, and work in a group collaboratively will be important for us to be able to block the various fronts and blitz looks that we'll see. The most exotic type of blitz that we've seen all year.
How's their run game? I know they're trying to get better with that.
Yeah, not bad. They have some talented guys. They have not rushed the ball very well, but they're more talented than they kind of remind you of a team.
Yeah.
But they're more talented than what their statistics show. So hopefully we can delay that for one more week.
When you look at the fact that they're kind of in the same picture, we need some wins to get bowl eligible. They're 2-3. They need to start winning to be in the same boat, and I know those goals are there. I said this before. These teams kind of mirror each other to some extent.
Yeah, I think we match up well. You watch in year one. We kind of had our way here. We were able to move the ball very well and score 50-plus points, but they scored as well. They scored 30-something points in that game. And last year, a 2-3-point game, 29, 31, 30, 29, whatever it was, as they came to our venue. So this will be our first opportunity to go to, quote-unquote, The Rock in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to play this team. And it's homecoming, so we got invited to their homecoming party. And so hopefully we can crash it.
Spoil it a little bit, exactly.
Yeah.
What's it like playing there? And we saw it 3 years ago, and UTSA's team, the year before you got here, was really banged up on the offensive line in that game. And I think Dalton was in his first year of really playing quarterback. What's it like from a hometown perspective to have home games there and to carry on that tradition?
I have to be honest. They do a good job, but it's nothing in comparison to the Alamo Dome. In all honesty,
right. With
no disrespect intended, our venue rocks. It's louder. It's more engaging. Because they have had so much success. A lot of times in my tenure there's this expectation that we need to win at a high level, and if not, so it's not as intimidating. It may be a little different for homecoming. Again, I told you we were at 1.1-4 there before we went on a 5-game win streak, 6-game win streak to become bowl eligible. But hopefully it's not too bad. We've seen worse. We've been to Kyle Field. We've been to Arizona State. So I think we'll be up for it.
They have a good special teams. Parker Schoenfeld's been around forever. They got a punter that's been there forever. And every time I get the ballot for the week, those guys are usually on it as a special teams nominee.
Yeah, they have good kickers. They do a good job of recruiting that and giving themselves opportunity to play the length of the field that's desirable for them. And they have some returners. Both their returners, 2, 16, and 18, serve in the capacity as punt returners and kickoff returners. Legitimate speed, legitimate size on that football team.
All right, there's the scouting report on Southern Miss. We'll talk about a few other things to get to here in just a little bit. It's the Frank Wilson Radio Show, presented by Methodist Healthcare. And whether you're moving, remodeling, or just cleaning out some space at home, Life Storage helps make it easy. Call 844-LIFE-STORE or go online at lifestorage.com. Life Storage, it's your life. Store it with care. The Frank Wilson Radio Show rolls on from walk-ons and from Learfield. Back out here at Walk-Ons as we wrap things up on this edition of the Frank Wilson Show. Next week's show begins at 6 o'clock. We'll have all kinds of guests. We're an hour earlier next week because of a hockey game at 7 next Wednesday night. So come out here a little bit earlier next week, and we'll be underway with the Frank Wilson Show at 6. Frank will join us on the phone for a segment because you got to go recruiting, don't you?
I do. You know what? It's the lifeline of our football program, our ability to be able to go out throughout our state, throughout this region of the country, and beyond to get quality players to come in to help us try to grab that elusive championship that we so desire.
Yeah. Let me remind you that Wendy's uses fresh beef on every hamburger every day. Try it for yourself on a Dave's Double and taste the difference fresh beef makes. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada. Let's talk about Southern Miss. How do we beat the Golden Eagles?
We'll have to stop the pass, and I think we do that by being stout in our coverage and tackling well when these guys catch the ball, because they'll have opportunities where they will catch balls. And so to limit it to a limited play and not it extend to a big play after doing so. Offensively, we have to generate offensive plays. We have to generate big play opportunities. We have to generate touchdowns in both the run and the pass game. That's long overdue. Had a great week thus far, diligently working on those things to position ourselves to be able to create those plays. I think this may be the week that we're able to jumpstart it. And with our practice preparation, I think so.
Finishing those drives, just making sure that what you always talk about, inning and kicks, and unfortunately too many of those have been punched. You want to kick extra points and field goals.
Certainly. You look at us a week ago and really scaling back on some of the things we're doing from a playbook standpoint. And they're so minute, whether it's a shift, a motion, a blocking scheme. What appears on the perimeter, that's the same play we just ran, is a totally different play. Based on personnel groupings. You have to understand that a defense looks at who goes to the field and match the personnel grouping first and foremost, and then they match where you're at on the field. Or are you coming out? Is it the freewheeling zone? Is it the red zone, the tight red zone, the goal line, short yardage? And so there's a plethora of things that you choose from the box, if you will, of play choice. We have to be very selective and cognizant that it's the things that our guys do best.
Very well. Frank, thanks as always. We'll talk to you on the phone next week, and we'll look forward to the trip to Southern Miss this weekend.
Looking forward to it.
Birds up. Birds up. There you go. Frank Wilson Radio Show for tonight. Again, next week's show's at 6. We're getting out of here a half hour earlier tonight so that our flagship station, Ticket 760, can bring you Astros baseball and the first pitch in just over a few minutes from now. Have a fantastic weekend, everybody, and join us on Saturday. We're on Ticket 760 for the Roadrunners, and the Southern Miss Golden Eagles will be on the air at 4 o'clock with a Credit Human pregame show. Until then, I'm Andy Everett for Frank Wilson. Thanks to Marquez, McNair, and to Cassius, Grady, and good night from Walk-Ons and from Learfield.